I got called fat on a first date.
Hey bestie, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Like the video because it helps with my algorithm. So in today's video, we'll be talking about when it comes to dating as a plus size woman, the stories people share are not always about sweet connection and romantic. Many times are filled with uncomfortable moments, cruel comments, and shocking behavior that can leave someone feeling embarrassed or even heartbroken. Put the stitches together so that you watch. I'll be back sharing my 2 cents.
I got called fat on a first date. It has taken me like 2 weeks to process that it even happened to me, right? I went through the 5 stages of grief, or so I thought. Because this past weekend, when I started telling my friends and my family about what happened to me, about being called fat, right? And I just told another friend right now, and all of them have like the same response of like, oh, like you'll find someone, don't worry, like who says that was so rude, just giving me words of encouragement, right? But not one of them has said you're not fat. No one has told me, like, he told the truth, I guess.
Dating when I was 154 pounds heavier than what I am now was just horrendous. So a friend of mine set me up with a guy she knew. We then went to Pizza Hut. I think it was the only restaurant that was near the cinema back then. This was a long time ago. I'm old. And we're reading through the menu. Then what he said shocked me, and I should have left, but I didn't. He said, "You will probably eat more than me, so how shall we do the bill?" Yes. I knew it wasn't a money thing. I just thought, oh, he is just trying to pinpoint the fact that I'm fat. He takes me home. When we get to my house, he tells me he needs the toilet. And I was a bit reluctant because I don't like inviting people into my home, especially ones that are insulting me. Here's the toilet and he went on his way. Now, I am a huge germaphobe. So as soon as he left, I was up in that bathroom cleaning it. And I went to clean the toilet and I was like, oh, he had left me a nice little surprise. He texted when he got home and he was like, let me know he was home. It's like, oh, thanks for the little surprise in the toilet, wasn't expecting to see that when I went up there. Do you know what he said? I had too much fibre. You should eat fibre. It's good for you. Now, at this point, I hadn't said to him that I didn't plan on seeing him again. I kind of felt that was a mutual thing, considering the digs he had constantly made about the size of me. The next morning, though, I wake up to some lovely WhatsApp messages. He had decided to send me some links to some fitness DVDs. Davina McCall had just brought out a new fitness DVD and he had sent me the link to it. Would you like to try this? I'm happy to buy it for you. It's a free DVD. I wanted to say yes. And I love Davina McCall, but out of principle, I was like, no, I'm good, thanks. To which he then responds with another link to another fitness DVD. The caption, how about this one then? You would look really pretty if you'd lost some weight. So I reply and I'm like, no, I'm good, thanks. And obviously my weight is an issue for you, so let's not bother communicating anymore. If you've got a problem with someone's size, don't keep bringing it up. Like, if it doesn't bother them and it bothers you, that's a you issue, not a them issue. What I was most offended about was the poo in my toilet. That offended me the most.
The stories that I have of being rejected as a bigger girl and being rejected as a smaller girl are crazy. Let me tell you the worst experience I had of being rejected as a bigger girl. So this was probably 2016-ish, 2017-ish. And I was on Plenty of Fish, which red flag right there. Just don't do that. I was chatting to this guy, and before anyone comments, yes, I was always very upfront about what I looked like. I had plenty of full body pictures on my profile. It was very obvious. So I'm talking to this guy for a couple of weeks, and finally he's like, I would really like to take you out. And mind you, like, again, because I was a bigger girl and I knew the rules, I was very upfront. I'm like, listen, you know that I'm like a bigger girl, right? And he, of course, like they always are, like, oh yeah, like I'm fine with it. Like, you look great to me and all this kind of stuff. So I'm like, okay, just so we're clear. So we make plans to meet up for a date, and we were gonna go to Longhorn Steakhouse. So mind you, When this day comes, there's literally an ice storm. So I brave my life to go meet up with this guy at Longhorn Steakhouse. I get there before him, and mind you, I looked good, all right? I put an effort, I put on a really cute outfit. This man got out of his car wearing track pants, which, like, sir, who do you think you are? And he just looked like he hadn't showered in a few days, but I was like, all right, we're just gonna see how this goes. I'm like, oh, hi, it's so nice to meet you. And we walk to the door, and I could immediately tell something was off. But I'm a very optimistic person, so I'm just like, all right, just give it a minute. Like, maybe he's just shy. So I'm trying to start conversation, and it's going nowhere. The hostess tells us it's gonna be a while. So we sit in like the little waiting lobby to wait for a table. And I'm like, again, I'm trying to start conversation, pulling at strings here, grasping at straws, and he's giving nothing. So finally, after about 5 minutes of me trying to make conversation with him, he's like, hey, come outside with me. And I'm like, oh, okay. So we go outside, and I'm like, oh, like, sorry it's taking so long, I'm like, but hopefully it'll be worth the drive, And he's like, listen, let's just cut to the chase. You're way fatter than I thought you were gonna be, and this is not gonna work. And I just looked at his greasy, balding head and was like, this isn't gonna work for you. Got it. Well, I'm gonna go. Good luck getting back home. And then he got all offended and butthurt that I wanted to leave the date, because why would I stay for that? And he was like, well, you can stay. We can have dinner. It's fine. Just why would I stay for that? You were just incredibly rude to me. No, I'm gonna go. Good luck getting home. And when I tell you, so that was the harshest I was ever rejected. I have plenty of other stories if you want them, but the vast difference between that and the harshest way that I have ever been rejected as a smaller person is so incredibly telling. So incredibly telling. The harshest I've ever been rejected in a smaller body was someone just being like, hey, I had a great time, but I just think we might be better off with other people. A normal response, right? A normal response. So yeah, in case you were wondering, decent human respect is another great example of thin privilege.
Okay, pardon me looking so disheveled and sweaty, but I just rage walked home after lasting 10 minutes on a date. And I'm reeling, and I know that I need to be taking care of myself right now, but this feels like taking care of myself. And this is the first time I've ever walked out on a date after being made to feel incredibly uncomfortable. And I think it's really important that I share this. So I've been trying to not chit chat, pen pal with people before meeting them, because I find I create this false idea of who they are in my head, and then it's really devastating when it doesn't work out. So meeting quickly is the way to go. However, it causes problems when you cannot adequately vet someone before meeting them. So this guy comes to pick me up at my house. I know, bad idea, but whatever, I did it. I've done worse, so it was fine. He came to pick me up at my house, and he was very nice. We kind of flirted a little bit along our walk to get gelato. And then we sit down with our gelato. And actually before this, it was quite pleasant. We were chatting. He was being flirty for sure. I was flirting back. It was nice. We got distracted while ordering gelato, being a little flirtatious, and that was super nice. So I was getting a good vibe. Then we sit down. We sit down at a park nearby and start the usual, where are you from? How many siblings do you have? Except this time he jumped right into hobbies, which, whatever, I like hobbies. So I was like, oh, I noticed you paint. I noticed you paint on your profile. I noticed that. And he was like, yes, I like to, I want to paint you naked. Pardon? We just met. So I tried to laugh it off because we were joking about Titanic, and I was like, okay, maybe this is just nerves coming out. So I tried to laugh it off, and I was like, I usually wait, a few dates before getting painted naked. To me, that was a subtle but clear indication that I was not comfortable with where this conversation was going, especially since we just met 10 minutes ago. Nope.
Didn't catch on to that. He continues. He asks, like, I saw you're artistic. Maybe you want to draw me naked. And I was like, actually, I don't draw. And like I said, we just met. So I'm not going to do that after meeting for 15 minutes. And like, maybe let's move it along. Then he asks me, what do you do before bed? I know exactly where this is fucking going. Dude, do you think I was born yesterday? I know where this is going. So I said, I read. I read before bed. No phone time because it keeps me up. I read, and then I go to bed. Shoo, honk shoo. I honk shoo. That's it. Nothing else. You know what he says to me? He says, I masturbate. He says it just like that. I masturbate. And I was like, huh. I was like, oh, you know, we just met. This is where things start getting, I start losing my poker face and I'm like picking at my gelato and I'm like, we just met and you're telling me you jack off every night before bed? And he's like, what, don't you? And I was like, that's actually none of your fucking business because we just met. I also don't need to know that you twiddle your pinky every night before bed. I don't need to know that when we just met. And he's like, oh, well, I'm just telling you about myself. And like, I'm just being open and like, oh, like I'm just telling you all of these things that I do. Like as if he said, I play basketball, I play tennis, I paint and I jack off, like in that order. And I was like, you know what? That's fine that that's what you do. But it would be cool if you like were picking up what I was saying, that it was making me uncomfortable. Then he asked, are you Catholic? Do you pray? To imply that like it must be because I'm religious and that's why I'm not feeling what he's talking about. And I said, nope, I don't pray. I'm not religious. I'm not Catholic. I just don't want to hear about your dick in the first 15 minutes that we've spoken. And then he's like, well, how long does it take to get to know someone? Like 2 days? Essentially implying like, how long is it going to be for us to sleep together? So here's what I did. I said, you know what? I don't think this is working. I'm going to go. And he was like, okay, go home. I'm French, go home. So I get up with my gelato. I strut my fucking stuff. Actually, you know what? Before this, I said, you know what? On a first date, I don't want to be asked to be drawn naked. And I don't want you to tell me how you masturbate every night. And I said that very loudly, super loud. And he was looking around. So I'm like, you fucking know what you're saying is inappropriate. I'm not a fucking prude, okay? So yeah, I pick up my gelato. I walk to the garbage can. I whip it into the garbage. And I power walk my way to 7-Eleven to get some cigarettes because I was going to quit, but I cannot quit today. I can't quit today. I'm going to quit. Well, I'm going to quit in 2 packs from now because the guy at the 7-Eleven was like, it's cheaper to buy 2. And I was like, well, I was going to quit, but I guess I'll wait a little. Anyway, that's how my dating life is. How's yours? In all seriousness, though, I wish that I'd walked out on so many more dates that went this way. I really, really do. And as much as I like wanted it to go well, wanted it to be nice because I think I look freaking cute. Sorry about the sweat because I power walked home. It is so much more important to protect your dignity. Not even dignity. It's important to protect how you want to be treated by people. And maybe that would have been fine for someone else. And, you know, I've had dates where it's like, we're just hooking up and like, it's cool to be sexual right away. This was not one of those. This was a proper date. Proper, whatever. This was a date that like, I'm looking for my person and it says that on my bio. What I'm trying to say is, know your worth, know what you will put up with, and leave when they're not respecting you. Because I told him in a variety of ways that I was uncomfortable with what he was saying and that he needed to stop. And instead of stopping, he doubled down and argued with me. So I fucking left. Anyway, how's that for Sunday scaries?
So most of my adult life, I have been fat, and it kind of like has hindered me from really dating the way I want to. I can only speak for myself, but as a fat girl, usually I spend my weekends and days in the house reading about the love that I have never received. But this year, like, I told myself I was gonna like put myself out there, and I did. So I started online dating. And of course, I started online dating on Hinge, right? And it's funny because like my like family and friends would always be like, you know, you're in your head about things, because I would always be afraid of like, you know, meeting people new and them seeing me and them not wanting to date me because I'm fat, right? But I've learned something with this online dating thing, right? So if you care, I'm going to tell you about my experience as dating as a fat plus size girl online. So I use two apps. I use Hinge for for serious dating, and then I've used another app called Field when I'm feeling a little naughty. But anyway, so in the beginning, I found myself like when I was doing my profile, like talking about my body, like, you know, I'm not a small girl, or like, I don't know, little things that even though I have full body pictures on my profile, but whatever. So I have full body pictures on there, but I still felt the need to like tell people about my body. And then there was a point in time on Hinge where I was putting my Instagram handle on there so that, you know, they can go and see my Instagram and just like be sure this is what they wanted, right? So I would always be like super surprised when like I would match on Hinge with guys who I found attractive, even though every guy I've like dated, I've had a lot of situationships in my life. You know, if you're a plus size girl, you know what that's like. But I've had a lot of like guys who are attractive, you know, want to be with me, and I always think it's like it's a catch, like, why do you like me? So whenever I would match with like a guy who was attractive, I would, I don't know, be kind of iffy, but then I'm like, you know, whatever. So there was this one guy, and we'll just call him Kareem, because Kareem sounds like a cute guy's name. He was really cute, like my type. So we were messaging back and forth, and I told him, I was like, you should go on my Instagram so you can see and be sure you like what you see when you do see me, right? Again, you know. So like giving him a warning that, you know, when I walk into this this place, I am fat. I don't want you to be surprised, right? And this is again all in my head. And he sent me a text, and he was just like, you know, I seen what you look like. You know, he didn't really care. Like, he didn't even spend much time talking about it. He's like, well, you tripping, you know? And there was another guy who said the same thing. He was like, yeah, I seen your Instagram. Like, what's the issue, right? Again, all in my head. So when we went on the date, I got there early because I don't want to walk in. I don't know, it's weird to walk in. So I'm there early, and he like walked in, and he was like, you look just like your pictures. Like, you're really pretty, this and that. And he was like, then he said, he was like, why did you feel the need to ask me if I looked at your Instagram to see what you look like? I wouldn't have matched with you if I didn't like what I saw, right? And when he like said that to me, it just made me feel so stupid. Like, why am I doing that? You know, like he could see, he said, and he could tell that I like had some issues with self-esteem, and that's like the worst thing a guy could know. But he was okay about it. I guess like he knew why I did that, because I'm a fat girl. And like, I don't know, it just like opened my eyes. And from that point on, I didn't feel the need to like warn guys about me, because again, like, they're liking my profile with these full body pictures because they do like what they see. I do get sometimes those guys who are chubby chasers, those little nasty, them, stay away from them. Stay away from them guys who be pandering to big girls. Like, especially on here, I be seeing y'all all in the comments praising the dudes who be talking that. Stay away from them. That's all performative. Or they got a fetish. Like, stay away from that. But I'm just saying, like, I've had good experiences on there, mostly good, which is really surprising. And I've had not really bad, but guys who, I don't know, nothing really happened with them, but I just chuck that up to not me being fat, just the fact that, you know, as a girl, you win some, you lose some. But I'm just here to say, if you're a plus size girl, a plus size black girl, because I can't speak for the other ones, but if you're a plus size girl, you should try to put yourself out there. There's someone for everybody. And when I say, like, I had major anxiety, I did not leave the house, I didn't want to do anything. Like, once you start, you won't stop. Don't be discouraged, just keep on going. Like, for real, if I can do it,
I was talking to a friend of mine and we were talking about men and dating, and like throughout the conversation I had a bit of an awakening and I want to talk about it. So I was telling her about how this is the biggest that I've ever been in my entire life, but at the same time, like, I still get attention from guys. And I was letting my friend know that it's so interesting, like, when they invite me back to their place, let's just say, like, I meet them on a night out and they're like, you know what, do you want to come back to my house? Do you want to come back to the apartment? And I turn them down and say, you know, I'm not really looking for that. Like, I'm kind of looking for something a bit more meaningful. I'm not going to sleep with you. I'm just wanting different things. They're so shocked and they're so triggered and they're like, what do you mean? Like, you don't want to sleep with me? You're rejecting me? You're not going to put out for me? And I was telling my friend about these experiences and how men, like, they're almost shocked when you have a bit of self-respect and have standards and stand your ground, and you're not going to allow them to manipulate you into dropping your standards for them. And I said to my friend, you know, I feel like sometimes these boys, like, in the past have maybe made a move on me thinking that because I'm thicker that I would have super low self-esteem and just allow them to treat me any way they want. And I wouldn't reject them. I wouldn't turn them down. And it's not that I'm rejecting these guys. It's just that I'm very vocal about the fact that I'm in a place where I want to go on dates. I want to get to know someone. I want to go slow. Like, hooking up is just really not for me unless we're kind of getting to know each other. And I said to my friend, like, I feel like I've kind of just come to understand that some of these boys were just flirting with me and talking to me because they thought the size that I'm at, that I would be easier than maybe a smaller girl. And I'd never, like, come to that conclusion, but I'm pretty sure that has happened. And I don't know, there's so much power in standing in your truth and having your standards and not lowering them, and making these boys realize that, yes, I'm thicker, but that it doesn't mean that I'm easier and I'm going to lower my standard for you.
So I met this dude on a dating website. This was like more than 5 years ago, but the website was called Badoo. I don't even know if it's still around, but that's what it was. And we were talking, we were vibing, and we'll call him Jay, okay? So Jay was messaging me and I was telling him, like, hey, I'm at work. He was like, I really want to see you. He was like, but I have class today. And me not thinking at the time, because I was stupid, I'll give y'all that. I was being dumb. But he was like, hey, can you come meet me at my class? We can just chill. I have like a little break in between. We can talk and get to know each other better, and then figure out what we're going to do from there. So I was leaving work that day. I was like, okay, I'll go. And I ended up pulling up to the class. Now, red flag number one. So the class was at like some downtown little dungeon. Like, I'm looking, I'm like, what kind of school is this? Like, he sent the address. I pull up. I'm like, this looks real sketchy. So I text him. I'm like, hey, I'm here. He's like, okay, we finna go on break. Just park like right here. Why he come out? This man, first of all, was looking fine. Like, dark skin, like dark chocolate. He tall, he like kind of muscular, like beautiful white teeth, like he just looking good. I'm like, okay, like whatever. And you know, he gets in my car, he sits on the passenger seat, and we get to talking. I'm like, hey, you know, nice to finally meet you in person. And mind you, this is like our first time meeting up, but we have been talking for probably about a week or two. So I was like, what kind of class is this? And he was like, probation or parole. And I'm like, like what? I'm like, you said class, I thought you was like in school. He was like, nah. He's like, I just got out of jail. So red flag number 1, right? So then he proceeds to lift up his pant leg and show me that he has an ankle monitor on. So that's like, we're gonna count that as like 4 red flags right there. So he's already at 5 red flags. I'm like, now call me green or whatever, but I had never seen an ankle monitor. Like I had never seen an ankle monitor. I'm like, you on house arrest? So then I start asking questions. I'm like, how you go to school? I mean, how you go to class? How you leave? I thought you had to stay in the house like all the time. He was like, oh, you have to let your parole officer know you go to these classes. You have times you have to be there. And then like they give him like a certain amount of time to leave the class and get back home. So I'm like, so you supposed to be in class right now, but you out here talking to me? He's like, yeah, as long as I'm on the premises or whatever. And I'm like, oh Lord, okay. Now, yes, I'll be dumb, but I'm thinking, I'm like, he is just fun. Like the vibe was good. And I'm like, so how long you gonna be on house arrest? He was like, I don't know. I have to go to court in 3 months, this, that, blah, blah. And he was telling me that he paroled to his dad's house, which was in the hood. I'm like, okay. He was like, but you could come back with me to my dad's house. So I was like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. So we talking, and I'm just asking a lot of questions about how the process works, like with house arrest and parole. Like, is he ever able to go anywhere else? Like, can he ask his parole officer? Like, could he come to my apartment or whatever? And then he was like, no, like he has to wait. So I'm like, okay. So I drop off, like we talked for like an hour. So I end up driving off, leaving, and I'm thinking, that's dead. Like, I'm not gonna talk to this dude no more. So then he gets to texting me and calling me and telling me, you know, he think I'm beautiful and he liked hanging with me. He can't wait till he get off of house arrest so we could really go out. He could show me the kind of man that he is. And at the end of the day, like, I try to give people the benefit of the doubt. I really do be trying. But the ankle monitor was just like, that was a little bit too much for me, like, for me to try to work with. So long story short, we ended up talking for years, like on and off, but not like talking, but just like communicating. We were friends on Facebook and other social medias, and we would text. And then finally the year came. It was probably like a year later. He told me that he had got off of probation or parole or whatever it was, and he was free and whatever. And he was like, you know, I've been waiting a year to see you, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So we end up setting up a situation, and this is years later though. And when I tell you that this man did things to me that I ain't never had done to me before, in a way that I wanted to continue to have done to me, like it was, I don't know if it was just like the anticipation, because we have been wanting to do something because we were both attracted to each other. When we finally got our hands on each other, y'all, and when I tell you this man thing, I wish I could show y'all pictures. Like, the thing is thinging. Like, when I say hanging down to the kneecaps, the kneecaps, I'm not exaggerating. I'm not exaggerating. Like, the thing was thangin'. Y'all, so we ended up doing what grown-ups do. And when I had seen that he was packing in a way that I ain't never seen before, like, I was just like gone in the head. I ain't even gonna lie. Like, gone in the head. Like, this boy had me like ready to do anything for him. So then more red flags started to come out after that. So come to find out, he had got this girl pregnant, who was his baby mama. She already had like 1 or 2 kids by him, so he ended up having a baby with her, and they was living in like the back house of his daddy house, and blah blah blah. So that's important because I found out that she had been there all along, and I didn't know. So they ended up having a rough time. He ended up going to truck driving school and ended up getting his CDL, and he was doing like his basically like intern where you have to like drive across the country like with a like a preceptor person, and he was gonna be gone for like a month or whatever. So while he was gone, we were still kind of talking, but I was trying to get rid of him because I just started realizing like all these toxic things that was happening. I have to put that in another story, but I'm trying to like make this short. So he was gone over the road. He was like in Tennessee. This man called me and asked me if he could borrow $600 and then take it to a girl in a hotel who lives in a hotel who is a prostitute, who he got pregnant, and he needed the $600 to get a B. And I said, are you crazy? Like, you asking me, and he wanted me to drive her because she don't have a car and he wasn't here. So you asked me for $600 to help your prostitute go get her up. I don't want to get flagged, but yes. So that was it. That was the last straw. I was done. But the flags were there. I should have listened to myself. I should have. Y'all, please don't judge me, but seriously, dating is ghetto out here. Stay with your man.
Plus size dating. Let's talk about it while I put some makeup on. First off, let me start by saying that dating is hard and a very vulnerable thing, no matter what size you are. Let's start even before you go on a first date, right? The hype leading up to it. You constantly fixate on, are they going to think I'm fat? One thing I've learned that's helped me switch my mindset with this is that just like you have a type, you are somebody's type. Let that sink in. Which I understand is hard to come to terms with because we've been told our whole life that our body is not lovable. When I was dating, people would always tell me, don't think about if they like you. Think about if you like them. Like, I don't want to hear that. To me, that wasn't helpful in any way because you physically cannot help but worry about if they like you. You're dating. I'm going to share some things that were actually helpful to me when I was dating. Make sure they have seen some form of you that's most up to date. Whether that's like a picture on your dating profile that's full body or on FaceTime before you go on the date. For me, that just took some pressure off because it's like, you already knew what I looked like before I got there. Also, this might seem super simple, but wear a color that does not show sweat because you're going to be nervous and you're probably going to be sweating. And the last thing you need to worry about is if your sweat stains are showing. And one last thing, the size in your jeans is the least interesting thing about you.
How to know if that man has a fetish for bigger girls or he's just attracted to bigger girls. These are red flags to look for because it's super important that we're with someone who's genuine and has pure intentions with us. First red flag is if he's constantly bragging about his type and he says things like, oh, I don't date any thin girls, I only like these type of girls. It almost makes it feel like he's not looking for genuine connection with people, he's looking to collect his fetish. Number 2, go through his following and see if he follows any like plus size fetish smexual accounts If you see that, it's a wrap. You already know that this is a fetish for him. Number 3, when he compliments you, it's always about your body. He makes it over sexual. It feels like he just wants you for your body and he's not making compliments about your personality or who you are as a person. Number 4, if you ever try to say, oh, I want to lose weight or I want to do this, he highly discourages it, even if it's for healthy reasons. I've dealt with plenty of guys like this. I promise you guys are not being overly sensitive. Just drop them.
That's a video bestie, so I'm just here just to add on like what I think about today's video. In today's video, we're talking about dating as a plus size woman. One of the biggest horror stories about plus size women face is being treated like a fetish instead of being a person. Instead of being loved and respected for who they are, they end up with men who only want them because of their size, as if they are some sort of category to check off on a list. Imagine thinking you have made someone genuine, only to realize they don't even see you as a whole woman. They only see you as their secret preference, something they would never proudly show off in public. That kind of experience leaves scars. Another type of horror comes from being hidden. Many plus size women have stories about men who are affectionate in private but act like they don't exist in public. They refuse to put or to post pictures, they avoid being seen together, and they always have an excuse about why they don't want to make things official. It feels like being someone dirty little secret, and the imitation that comes with that can destroy confidence. To be treated like you are good enough to sleep with, but not good enough to love openly, is one of the harshest realities of plus size dating. Then there is the horror story that happens on first date. Picture showing up to meet someone who seemed nice online, only for him to recently insult your body. Some women have shared how men will say things like, oh, you're bigger than your pictures, or I didn't realize you were that size, as if being plus size is something to apologize for. There are men who think it's okay to comment on weight during their first meeting, completely crashing the mood and proving that they were never really interested in the person, only in their body. There's also stories of remediation in public settings. Some plus size women have experienced men making jokes about their size while out of the dinner, or being pressured to order less food so that they don't look greedy. Some even tell stories of dates where men refuse to sit next to them in fear of what others may think. The cruelty is shocking, but it's also a reminder of how shallow dating can be when people care more about your appearances than connection. What makes these horror stories even worse is when the rejection comes in after intimacy. Some plus size women have been used for physical comfort, only for the man to ghost them the very next day. The pain of being tossed aside like you didn't matter is already bad enough, but when it's tied to your body size, it cuts even deeper. It reinforces every insecurity and it takes time to rebuild that confidence. On the other hand, there are also horror stories about being overpraised in a way that feels insulting. Some men will constantly say things like, I love big girls, or you're so confident for her size, thinking it's a compliment. When in reality, it feels like they're reducing a woman to just her body. Plus size women don't want to be treated as if the existing in their body is some shocking achievement. They want to be loved, not to put on display. Online dating has its own set of nightmares. Many plus size women talk about how they get matched with men who think it's okay to send rude messages about their weight. Comments like, yep, you've been pretty, but if you lose some weight, or are you sure you should be on here, or are common. Some even fetishize messages from men who treat them like an object rather than a partner. Imagine opening your dating app with hope, only to be bombarded with cruel reminder that society will judge people by their size. There's also those awful moments where a man will act interested until his friends find out. Suddenly, the call stop, the text gets shorter, and the excuses pile up. It's not that he lost interest, it's that he was too weak to stand up for what he wanted. And that woman left feeling rejected not because of her personality or kindness, but because he was too embarrassed to be with a plus size partner. The scariest part of these horror stories is how much they affect self-worthy. After dealing with so many bad experiences, many plus size women begin to question if they're worthy of love, if they've ever been treated with respect, or if they should settle for less. That's a real tragedy behind these stories. Not just the cruel ways of romantic dates, but the way they can make someone lose hope in love. But here's the truth that needs to be said loudly. These horror stories don't define everyone experience. For every man who acts cruel, there are also men who genuinely love plus size women for who they are. Real love doesn't come with conditions or shame, and no one should ever feel like she has to shrink herself just to be worthy of affection. The real horror is when someone allows society, beauty standard to rob them of happiness. So if you're a plus size woman and dating, yes, there are many moments, there may be moments that feel like horror stories, but don't let those experiences choose your heart. Instead, let them show you the difference between someone who truly value you and someone who only sees your body. Because at the end of the day, the right person won't make you feel that like a secret, a fetish, or embarrassed. They will make you feel loved, respected, and proud to be exactly who you are. So that's a way, that's a video, guys. So if you're a plus size woman, it's okay also to feel like if you want to lose weight, you can go on, because on here we also talk about weight loss, okay? Yeah, it's okay to feel, it needs to come from your heart, because if it's not coming from your heart, then it can't work out. So guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next episode.